Hey guys, if you're tired of carrying a key around everywhere, you found the right video. This is going to help you get your keypad set up to start your Jeep, as well as a remote start, a little remote, and a NFC unlock. That's a NFC smart ring, kind of one of these things that I have here. We're going to just tap on the little reader and it'll send a signal. You'll need a few things to get started here. Just really general electrical knowledge that positive means it goes to the battery and negative means it goes to, some kind of metal. And with those two pieces of knowledge, you can really figure a lot of this stuff out. So let's dive in here. First off, don't be scared. There's a lot going on here, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on different things so you understand what each one is. So this big box right here with all the fuses, yep, that one there, all the connectors on it, that's just the power. So there's three cables coming out of the underside of your steering wheel, pretty much on every car. You got your power, which is going to send a power 12 volts to your starter and also to your accessory on. Those are two other cables. So really there's three total cables coming out of underneath your steering wheel. It looks like there's a lot going on underneath your steering wheel there, but really just three are what you need. So once you have those three, you take the power and you put it up here and just split it up. So I've got a bunch of fuses so I have more power. Power things like my little computers. So next, let's go on to the other simple element of how this all works. My Arduino Uno. These things are like 10 bucks or like $7. Actually, you know what? I just bought two of them for 12 bucks. So they're getting cheaper. Yeah, they have these little holes here in the board where you can just put the pins right in. And I soldered mine in so they're staying nice and tight. And it's really very simple. You plug in a USB cable right over here, and then you have your program that you work with on your computer to tell it, hey, turn on switch 2 or turn on switch 6. Just like instead of like switching it on or off, you just use your computer to do it. It's a digital switch. That's all they are. Power management via switch instead of physically switching it. So I do have one physical switch, and I'll show you how the whole system works before I get into the real magic of how this whole system works here. You can pause it and research Arduino Uno if you want. You're going to find a couple million videos. Give me a moment over here. All right, so here's the whole system in action. I'll go ahead and walk up to this little pull knob, which will be on the other side of my dash when I have it installed. Boom. And now you'll notice that the Arduino has just powered on. Wait a minute, it has not, because I've got to plug it in. So plug that in there. Stay. You'll see, I just took a 12-volt power cable and I cut it so that I can plug it into the 12 volts that the Arduino needs to run. Alakazam, it's running now. Oh, nope, not running yet. I've got to go pull the switch. So let's see here. There's this little pull switch that again will be on the other side later on. Pulled out right now? It is. Okay, pulled out, and now you'll see a little red light in our Arduino now. There we go. A little red light indicates that it's on, and it's ready for you to do anything with those switches. So I'm just telling it with that little computer program thing to turn on 3, 4, and 6. It's like a little guy in there that's like switching. Okay, 3, 4, and 6 on now, to make the accessory and on work. And the way that I do those switches is just via my little keypad here. So this little keypad will turn on the accessory and on when I put in my code here. Okay. And it didn't do it because I don't have the power cable plugged in. Keep in mind that everything is still in prototyping phase, so I don't have everything super tight. Just gotta make sure that everything nice and tightly connected before I put it back in. But for right now, it's all kind of loose, honestly. There we go. All right. Give it a little bit better of a connection. That for now. Okay. And let's go ahead and look at what I'm going to do to pop in the Jeep. So I sit down in the Jeep, and this dash thing will be right here. So I just pull this thing out. Whoop. Pull it out. Arduino just turns on. So that's the battery killer is leaving this thing on all the time. So I just have this thing on a switch over there. So this thing isn't running all the time. But as soon as it's powered on, I can go ahead and hit these the secret code here. Let me put in my code. You hear it beeping, because I also put this little buzzer guy in the system. This guy's pretty cool, and you can just program it at different tones so that it beeps at different times. Oh, windshield wipers are on. Okay, there we go. So you see my stereo's on. Everything's rock solid right now. Everything's doing really good. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and show you the next steps. I'll put in another code. It starts right up. Pretty awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and shut it off by hitting that little switch over there. And this just turns off the computer, which turns off the whole system and the switch. But I'm going to show you the real brains behind all this here. So you simply are using the numbers there on the left as little switches, just like you would have numbered switches on the wall, like light switch 1, light switch 2, whatever. But I'm using my keypad thing to tell those switches yes or no. And when I say yes, it operates this wonderfully magical little device over here, which is really the whole key to this system. It's called a relay. And this relay on... Oh, stop that. Stop being so fuzzy. Okay, I'll get out of there. Alright, on... let's see here. Yep, I can get underneath. Alright, cool. On this side here, you see some black thick cables plugged in. So those are really just your break in the line. So you can kind of, if you have a live line, you can cut it right there, and you can say, this is my little switch between these two. I want to have these two not talk to each other, and then when I push those pin pad in things, they do talk to each other, so all of a sudden this line is connected again. It's just a switch, a relay switch is all this is. And with those over there, let's see here. I can show you on the other side. Really cool if I can show you over here. There's just so much stuff in the way right now. It's kind of difficult. So, over on this side, so right here, you have two thin little cables connected. They are these ones go to your Arduino, your little computer. So this is really your signal cable. You're sending a positive signal through this brown cable here, and when you send the signal through here, it goes ahead and kicks on the big guy over there. It's just a signal cable, but you need to power the whole board here, this little relay board that we're talking about. So to power it, you got to give it its own power. So this is just positive and negative. So this one's grounded to the metal. This one right here, the cable runs over to my fuse box that I added. So I have a whole bunch of power coming out of this fuse box here. And one of those cables just runs over to power the relay. So once the relay has power and it's grounded and it's got the signal from the brown and the light brown cable on your left hand side, and then you look on the right, it's going to start doing everything on the right. Now, you can watch a couple YouTube videos on how to hook up things on the right-hand side. There are different configurations and different options. I'm just doing it the most common way, really. So that's the way to do that. My way of doing it really is by putting a 12-volt here, and then that one is closed, so it's not working. And when I send the signal through this little switch, the brown cable there, the tiny little brown cables on the other side, those two do start working. They connect to each other. But that's all a relay does, is you say, with a tiny little cable, tiny little amount of power, you send over here and you say, hey, can you guys turn on everything on there? And you turn everything on here, and you can give it 12 volts, or you can give it 120 volts in your house, or you can turn on your dryer with this with 220 volts. It's really, this tiny little board has so many different possibilities, but I didn't know much about relay boards until I started doing all this. So just to be clear, brown cable's on the left. Now let's go to the Arduino. Those two up there are power, positive and negative, that I got from the fuse block down there, and then metal for ground. And then these ones over here are connected directly on the other side of these cables. You have 12 volts here and 12 volts there. So these two cables, two different relays. So 12 volts on the top one, 12 volts on the bottom one, coming from this fuse block. So the relay has 12 volts on that side as well. So there's 3 different 12 volts going in, one just to power the board, and then these two 12 volts to give the other one's power. The other one, this is your accessory, so like your radios and stuff like that, and your windshield wipers and your HVAC. And then the other one is for your ignition, right there. And your ignition is for your distributor and your spark plugs and all that other stuff to actually make your car run. So I'm just using this keypad to tell this distributor, relay, and spark plug and coil pack, whatever it is that you got there, to start working. And then the other one's for me, for all the stuff inside the Jeep that I want to have working. So I just send the signal by here by putting in the correct keypad. Now I do have another relay, same exact one, same exact thing. I just already mounted that one just for the starter. So I put in a different code to activate that one, and that one has different cables. I think it's like green, those little green cables that go to the Arduino right there, the green and light green, and well as the brown and dark brown, light brown and dark brown that you saw on the other relay that we were just looking at. So these ones are really simple. Just so you know, an explanation for how all these pins work out is this one way down here, that's my buzzer. These 4 right here are the keypad, and then this one's not connected there. It's just, oh no, I'm sorry, that's an LED. That is a LED right there. And this is another LED. This is another LED. Another LED. And then down here I have a ground, because that's a ground plug. So I have these 4 from the pin code pad grounded over here, because that's where the ground is on the Arduino. I can show you layout how these things work. Quickly look on the left, see where that white cable's going. It goes to ground all the way on the left, but there is no other grounds on the right hand side with the original switch cables. Okay, so that's really everything in a nutshell. Now these LEDs I have over here, I have just to let me know that everything is working in the system, and then I have some other LEDs that I put together down here so that I know that while it's running, everything is okay with the relays. I'm not going to go into how to wire a little LED light in this video. Of course, it's super simple. You just need a little 1000 milliamp resistor, and with that little resistor, you can go ahead and power 12 volts directly to this little LED positive line, a little resistor there, and then the ground. Of course, the black one goes right to the cable that I've screwed in up there. Those are my grounds. And down here. So this is really everything in a nutshell. I know that it looks like there's a lot going on. Quite frankly, it's very simple. So this is the Arduino Uno board. Again, please watch some YouTube videos on Arduino Unos after this. They're super easy to work with, super easy to understand. Oh, I should mention that this thing is super cheap. It was like $6 and something cents. The relay, I think it was like $9 or something. And then I also got one of these guys too, which I haven't showed you. This is my little antenna. The little antenna will be, I'm going to press A. Little antenna here will pick up the signal and say something just came into this powered board. I'm going to send it out one of these pins. And to one of these pins, it's just a little OK signal, just a little tiny signal, say everything's good to go with a little bit of juice. That little bit of juice is going to come directly into my relay. I'm just going to tap right into the brown and light brown cable on the left hand side over there with this guy. And when I tap into that little cable, whether it's the Arduino sending that signal with the light brown cable, or it is the little RF module, as it's called, either one of those will turn on the relay on the right hand side of the board with that OK signal, and it will get everything going to those black cables going to my connectors up there. So with that being in place, I'll show you one more time how it works right now. I've got my keypad, you put in the code, and then it turns on the accessories and on, and then you put in a different code, and it turns on the starter just for a few seconds, and then the starter turns off, and of course everything's already running, so it's good to go there. The cool part that I want to have set up in this Jeep once everything is A-OK is having to be able to walk up here, the Jeep, pull out the little thingy there, pull on my headlights or shut them off, whatever it is I want to do, little pull knobs, and then I can have the starter set up on a remote, of course, or I will have another thing run right up into the dash, and I'll have it up here on top, underneath there. And underneath there, I'll just say click, and I'll say good Jeep. And when I say good Jeep, my chip and my ring will be red there, and this will be the starter here. So all that I'll need to do when I hop in the Jeep is just hop in, pull it out, say good Jeep, and go.